and welcome to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqi. This week was a revelation. I watched a film that I must tell you about. And I spoke to the best actresses of today's times, and we must tell you what they said about this time and phase of Indian cinema. I give you a sneak peek first. Here are the headlines. Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui is not what you think it is. It is futuristic, progressive and smart storytelling that entertains you while it subtly inspires you. A freewheeling chat with Taapsee Pannu, Parineeti Chopra, Mrunal Thakur, Nusrat Bharucha and Banita Sandhu about the directors they always wanted to work with. And producer Bhushan Kumar talks about his new record and the economics of the music industry. Let's talk about this week's release, Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. It rarely happens that you watch a film that entertains you, inspires you, as well as invokes a thought-changing process inside you that pushes you to undo all the stereotypes that you were raised with. Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui is one such film that at the outset looks frivolous though, but at heart is not. Good-looking bodies, famous Punjabi slangs, a middle-class joint family with high drama dining table conversations, gabru men weighing their sense of worth through their physical masculinity that will be ultimately judged by the outside world and not themselves. It's quite okay. Then a great-looking girl, cynosure of everyone's eyes. When she walks into the gym, two great-looking people see and like each other. Okay. You think, show me something we have not seen before. And bang on comes that something. The girl has a past, and it's not something lousy like a marriage or an affair. It's her sexual identity. Ayushmann Khurrana completely lives up to that hard-earned image of his, an actor attempting films that have pushed that conversation under the carpet for decades. Picky donor, premature balding, skin color, erectile dysfunction, you name it. And now here he shoulders this badge with aplomb. In this film, he plays a cross-functional athlete wanting to win Gabru of the Year title. Educated from a government school, brought up by and with people who call transgenders as chakka or kinnar. He comes out on his own into a more aware, informed and clear-minded person beautifully. The script is laden with references to conventional societal norms. Ayushmann's 55-year-old father wanting to get married to a woman from a different religion, but his unmarried son and his bigoted father, who still gets his daily education from WhatsApp University, are a hindrance. Ayushmann's two older sisters are hyperventilating women who are overprotective about their brother even while he's 32 now. Well, ghar ghar ki kahani. All of this is very believable. His almost violent outburst when he's confronted with Manvi's, that is Vaani Kapoor's past, is very believable too. Now, director Abhishek Kapoor puts the right amount of sensitivity while dealing with a taboo subject here. He constantly keeps you light and entertained while he is hitting a hammer on the head of a big deal of a thing called transgenders. There is music by Sachin Jigar that gels well with the tonality of the film. Vaani's best friend is a woman in a man's body, often threatening Ayushmann, that is Manu, saying things like katle, bahut pitega. Ayushmann's friends are biologically men, but far less confrontational in crisis situations. Ayushmann's sisters are aggressive while they are women. Ayushmann's body is that of a strong man, but put him in a confusing state, he melts like a butter. This film is all about bodies and whether or not bodies and the gender they carry can have a relationship between the person who resides in it. Well, in words, it may sound complicated, but when you see the film, till that climax, you realize that it was a revolutionary idea penned by Simran Sahni and co-written by Supratik Sen and Tushar Paranjpe. The biggest surprise in the film is Vaani Kapoor, I must say. Her calm expressions in the face of verbal abuse, gut-wrenching humiliation, parental pressures and an inability to succumb to what the world expects from her is very impressive. It's really one of the nicest performances I have seen this year, apart from her awesome good looks, of course. Well, the film does have some explicit scenes and conversations that require maturity. Hence, if you are planning to watch it with kids, viewers' discretion is prescribed. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. Moving on, here is something very special and very elegant. The ladies who pull you to the theatres, who push the envelope, who are breaking the glass ceilings and who are maneuvering scripts that move us, propel us forward into a more sensible modern world, where cinema is also an instrument of change. In our coveted year-ender show, The Actresses Roundtable, I met up with 5 actresses who truly deserve an applause as they shone through this year, even if it was marred by closed cinema halls. They have rather turned it into an opportunity. So, listen, all of you this year have done projects with where you have portrayed very strong roles, characters. Now, there are a lot of women writers, female writers that are emerging. We have women like Atika Chauhan, Ghazal Dhaliwal, Juhi Chaturvedi, and of course Kanika Dhillon, who wrote both the films of Taapsee this year. Atika said to me that if you want women characters to be popular and be strong as a genre, please promote us, the female writers, because what we can add to that character is the experiential writing, right? Do you think that in order for you to get better roles, it's good for more female writers to come onto the game?
I don't know if I am very definitive on either side of this question. I'll tell you why. Yeah. Even though Kanika has written, say, Haseen Dilruba, it's Vinil's medium. And even though Kanika wrote dialogues for Rashmi, it is Akarsh's medium. And the other 2 writers were men. I feel it's very important to have a rounded perspective, because it's not just for the sake of female characters, it's also for the men, the female gaze. Eventually, you are catering to the 100% audience and not just 50%, that is the men, right? So if I'm seeing a film where I am seeing a film being a female, my gaze of the man will be slightly different from the male audience probably. So if you have a female writer as well, that gaze might become more holistic, more rounded, where you'll also have an input from a female point of view, how this character can possibly be or react. Okay, so for a more rounded perspective, my most beautiful characters have been directed by men, be it Thappad Anubhav Sinha, be it Manmarziya with Anurag Kashyap. When you get a woman writer, there are certain areas of being a woman that men haven't ventured into, certain areas, you know, especially my personal experience when it has come to especially showing female sexuality. Okay, what does a female want? Her intimate life to her sexual need, for that matter. It's an area where men want to venture, they do venture, but to their, giving them benefit of doubt that they probably don't know it as holistically and totally as a woman would. Okay. So when a woman writes it, it doesn't go either too sleazy or too shallow. It becomes right in middle. Whereas when a man sometimes tend to attempt it, might go either way. So that is where, I feel a female in certain sections or certain angles of womanhood, I think are catered better with woman writer. Whereas I don't think it's only when woman writer comes in that a woman character can be in the forefront. In my experience, it's been a combined effort.
I was just saying that, I'm a bit more of a balanced feminist when it comes to discussions about men and female roles in the world today. I just feel that the more we point out and the more we underline how women have not been in the forefront, I know we're doing it with the intention of spreading awareness, but I feel like we tend to trivialize women even more. I just feel like there's always a special mention that is made by a woman to another woman to say, wow, you being a woman did this. So I just feel like I know our intention is clean and I know we're doing it for awareness, but I just feel that the more we discuss and underline things, we tend to throw light on that gap. I feel like the way to solve is just to do, just let our work speak. And maybe 50 years from now or hopefully 10 years from now, there won't be this discussion.
When I used to study a few films which were made in the 90s or late 80s, I'm happy that we've made that transition, that shift, at least that girls are not being chased by the boys to say yes. There were times, there were movies where girls were chased and they were forced to say yes to be in a relationship. At least that is not the case. Especially in Tufan, the briefing that I had from Rakesh sir was, you're the boss. You speak your emotions. And the very small thing, like, I don't know if you all noticed, but in the film, the girl asked the guy out, not the guy asking the girl out. It's such a small difference. And also a special mention to a big thank you to Taapsee and Pari, because the kind of films they choose allows us as well. Because for me, the doors really opened up. It wasn't like, okay, she's playing a victim or she's playing the support system. Why can't a woman? There are so many stories out there. Why can't we just bring out those superheroes? Those. It's just beautiful how I absolutely enjoy. I've studied the Taapsee's career, and a big thank you, Taapsee. I've told you in the past as well, but I'm really happy that we actresses also choose and take that risk. And
these are the moments like these that I find all that battle that we fought for years really worth it, because I always thought there'll be one day that someone probably will look at it and say, if she can do it, so can I. Just all your struggle is worth it.
There was this interview I was watching of several women from Hollywood, where they categorically said that the DOP, they went through an abuse, which is actually an abuse, where the DOP did not tell them what they're shooting, or probably they had permitted them to shoot this much while they went much below than what was permitted, or you were shot in a way which you saw finally on TV or on the big screen, which you hadn't kind of permitted to. Has that ever happened to you?
God, no, never.
Never. Thank God.
Yeah.
Best think about it also.
But although I would like to see, I'm really happy that we are in the times where everything is like mutual, and we do a lot of we have a conversation before we shoot as to how much and till what extent we are shooting. But I would like to share this incident with me, where there was a scene which required there was the romance, and the lead actors were kissing each other, but I had a problem the way it was perceived on set. Why was it only asked to the lead actor and not the actress? I really felt weird, and I felt like a prop at that point of time, that why is it not asked to me, in spite of me mentioning it in the contract that it needs to be mutually discussed. And I think I'm going to take a stand always, and I always made it a point that whenever I'm shooting a scene like this, we have a conversation with the director and the co-actor and check if he or she is okay with performing to this extent or this level. And I'm forgetting the term. There is this coach, intimacy coach, if I'm not wrong, which is now now available on the sets, and I'm really happy that we don't. Nusrat, okay.
No, I haven't heard of this term.
No, listen.
Yeah, there is.
Really?
There is. Actor, if there is a romantic scene, if there are scenes where you need to get intimidated.
As well.
Known as intimidation,
with your co-actor, you can always ask for an intimacy coach. And many actresses are not aware of this, but I think it's their right, because we need to do it in a certain way. We need to be comfortable. And I think through this interview, all the actresses who are watching should be aware that it's their right to ask for an intimacy coach.
Can I ask a question? Because I've done a scene in India, but I've done a scene for an American TV show where I was naked, but we had a lot of conversations before, and I was like wearing the appropriate stuff. And it's very given that you have a closed set when stuff like that happens. Does that happen on Indian film sets as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But you have to ask for it.
Oh, it's not. It should be a given, though, right?
No.
Yeah, actually,
I've not had that experience. Honestly, I've had a great experience. I mean, that sounds weird, but I've had a great experiences experience. When I've been shooting all these scenes, first of all, I've shot with most of my friends. So all these boys that I've, done these scenes with are literally my buddies, people that I'm comfortable with, people that I know really well. And they are so respectful and like, they're just so chivalrous that I've almost felt like, am I demanding too much? Actually, it's been fine. The close set issue I have never faced. I think, again, been very lucky to be shooting with the right people who will not even discuss it. If I'm doing an intimate scene, it has all actually been as per my comfort. In fact, in my case, the boys weren't even asked, because they were topless. They are topless all the time. But for the girl, I was really taken care of. So I've actually had a wonderful experience and never felt uncomfortable.
Have you had some understandings about yourself in the other people's minds that you would have wanted to dispel?
I have been called the Panchnama girl from a red carpet by photographers and they don't know my name.
Yeah.
That's the Panchnama.
See, this is what I was asking. Right?
That's what I'm also saying. Yeah,
really.
Want to get rid of.
That tag just doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away.
It's a single reason why I'm single today. I've been single for years because they think I'm actually the manipulative psycho. I can't even person. That film released in 2011. For 10 years, people have believed I'm the psycho girl. I don't understand
character you played. Come on, guys.
Okay, Mrinal, why you?
Listen, my counter argument is tomorrow if I play a murderer, are you really going to think I murdered the person? Like, are you for real?
That was just an excerpt from The Actresses Roundtable. You can watch that full episode on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and on Sunday at 10:30 p.m. only on CNN News 18. And now we are heading for a short break. When we come back, we have the head of T-Series, Bhushan Kumar, on the secrets of the trade. Don't go away. Welcome back to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. Now, Bhushan Kumar is one of the most powerful film producers in Bollywood right now. He says he has inherited the quality of understanding good music from his late father, Gulshan Kumar. My colleague Vishal Chatkara caught up with Bhushan Kumar and got him to reveal how much does a song with 1 billion views on YouTube mean in today's times.
Bhushan Kumar, congratulations. Celebrations have already begun at your end. First one, of course, is T-Series' YouTube channel surpassing the mark of 200 million subscribers. This is the first one for any company in the world. You are, of course, the early entrants in the digital space. Fair to say, you're not just hitting the bullseye with your movies, but also in the digital space.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank the audience and our viewers who have given us so much love. We are first 200 million subscribers on YouTube in the world in all the categories. We were already #1 channel in terms of views and subscribers earlier also. But now this 200 million subscriber is a very, very big achievement. And for that, I would like to thank the audience and to my entire team who has put everything along with me and put it on this channel and made it such a big thing for us, for our country.
Bhushan, how important is digital space for an entertainment company today, both in terms of generating revenue and reaching out to a wider audience?
See, today is very, very important actually. Since the internet data has reached 3-tier cities and everywhere it has reached. So digital space is very important. In yesteryears, when we used to release music on cassettes and CDs, to reach to the audience, we need to, it used to take 10 days, 15 days. And to promote it, you need to do it through television and to radio stations and all these. Today, you have surpassed everything, and whatever you want to release, whatever you want to put it onto the audience, you just put it up, and within few minutes, you get the reaction. It has given us a wide reach. If I'm releasing a devotional music also, a person sitting in Los Angeles can listen to it right away and watch the video right away. So that's a great thing which digital space has given us.
And also, how's the money comes? Like, is there you want to tell us maybe not in the numbers, but in terms of percentage,
Yeah. So there is all the OTT platforms and YouTube channel have their different structure in which they share the revenues with us. Because if you see on all the OTT platform and YouTube, you see so many ads. They have millions and trillions of billions of dollars ads which are running. So obviously they have to share the kind of revenues with us.
That is in millions?
No, I'm just saying it's it's a very, very big.
I'm saying if you tell me in percentage, like, this much you recover, that used to come from physical sales earlier, cassette sales.
It's more than physical sales now, for sure. Like if we used to recover 5 rupees from physical sales, but now the 5 rupees is maybe in paisas, but the quantity is too high. First we used to see 20 rupees we will earn in one cassette sold. If 10 lakh cassettes are sold, we will earn 2 crore rupees. And then we have to deduct our costing and all those things of the pricing of the music we bought it for and all these stuff. But now it's a different ball game. It is not 10 lakh, it is 10 lakh views. It is 10 million views. It is 100 million views. It is 1 billion views.
Yeah.
So all those things are structured in a way that overall revenues have definitely gone up.
So if for example, do you think a billion view song will give you like 10 lakh rupees?
Yeah, billion views gives you more than 10 lakh rupees for sure. It is more than a crore for a billion views.
So that means you recover the cost of the song and the video from YouTube.
No, we don't in every song, because every song doesn't become billion, but it is a full ecosystem. It is not only on YouTube.
Yeah, the one song which touched a billion mark, you recover the cost by views.
Yeah. But there are other platforms also in which even if we do 100 million views on this, on YouTube, and 50 million views on one OTT platform, Saavn, 50 million on Gaana. So it is an overall chain which works on and give us a revenue of a song versus cost.
You were 19, I remember, when you took over this company.
Yeah.
You took your dad's legacy forward. What do you think that you have inherited from Gulshan ji?
See, the ear sense for selecting great music. That is very, very important to run a music label. If you don't have that, it is very difficult to run a music label. And I'm very glad and happy about it. Means, I have got that from my father, which is not for, selecting music for personal taste. It is selecting music for the public. Like most of the time, whenever I'm selecting a song, 95% times that song which I select as per the public taste goes bang on that.
Definitely. And do you listen to new sound? Like, do you keep your ears open when you travel? Do you listen to new words like what Salim Sulaiman heard in a flight? Do you also keep a note of, okay, ye Gaana will become a great hook line?
Yeah, that's very important. Means there are so many things. Means I can't tell you hook lines which are coming up now. There are so many hook lines which we use in our everyday life. Like Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, I made Bhool Bhulaiya mein बहुत long time back. That line, I just heard it somewhere, and I told Preetam, let's make a song on that.
You have access to the biggest name from Bollywood. Everybody wants to work with you, be it from the music world or the actors. You have made musicals, period film, actioners, and rom-com. Is making a big animation film featuring the big movie stars is something that you want to explore next?
Yeah, that also is in our pipeline actually, which we'll be announcing soon.
Don't want to add something that what genre, what story?
No, not now. That will be a surprise, and that will be a different announcement for all of you.
Bhushan Kumar, thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's show. We will see you again next week with my review of Spider-Man No Way Home and more interviews. Until then, stay safe and thank you for watching.